Yeah.
That's who he's married to?
No, in the film.
Yeah, his character's wife.
Got it.
So,
I knew that.
so
You
get
do the
started?
interviews with us?
This is my first time seeing the film, and what I heard beforehand was that this was sort of like the next Paranormal Activity, and that's sort of the buzz that it was getting, which was like, I saw the poster and I was like, okay, that looks pretty scary, but it didn't really turn out to be that way, and it actually turned out to be better than if it had been a scary, supernatural, paranormal type film. So can you guys like talk about that briefly, about what your movie actually is, and explain sort of what audiences should expect going into it?
Sure. I mean, truth is stranger than fiction. I'm glad it's not the next Paranormal Activity. I'm glad it's not just a ghost in a barn or something like that. I mean, it's real people, real stories, the real craziest thing that's ever happened to them.
Yeah, I mean, it's a roller coaster ride of emotions and suspense, and there's comedy, there's drama, and in the end, I think people walk away a little exhausted in some way, because you don't expect something, there's a twist, the movie unfolds right before you, but everyone who sees it comes out feeling and thinking and wanting to talk about it, and that's the most exciting part for us, because we want to talk about it too, and we think that it should be talked about.
I don't think you get that from horror movies, really. Right?
The sort of stimulation.
Yeah, you get some of those stimulants, but not the whole package.
So there is like a creepy scene in the movie where I was sort of, it's dark and it's just the light from the camera, and there's like a reflection in a bunch of windows, and you're not sure if it's something that's part of the crew or so seeing that and seeing how you guys sort of just dove right into it and weren't scared at all, do you think that there's something about your personalities that was sort of conducive to be opening you up to this kind of story? Because most people, they see the beginning of the film, they'd be like, I'm done, I wouldn't go further with that at all.
I think for me, being impulsive and in many cases sort of dumb about not thinking things through all the way before I make decisions. Very dumb is what allowed me to think that driving onto someone's farm in the middle of the night in the middle of nowhere was okay. Looking back, I completely understand how not smart that was. But at the time, I was excited, I was nervous, I was headstrong, and I thought, you know what, like, it's got to be now, and whatever it is, it'll be, and just dive in head first. But it was scary, and it definitely shook all of us a little bit. And I don't think we would have individually gone, but as a trio, we kind of gave each other courage.
Do you think that you're going to inspire people to be more open to the sort of the...
Well, I hope that I inspire people to take the plunge in a way, if you're involved online with someone intimately, or even just as a good friend, like, make it a point to say, okay, before I get too invested in this, I have to meet them. And I have to sit with them and have that energy, that vibe, that connection, and it could be awkward, it could be great, but whatever it is, I'll know it's something. Because otherwise, it's easy to kind of get carried away.
So you're not totally, downplaying online dating. That's the big,
no, in fact,
big thing that people do now.
In fact, I met a couple today walking around in Philadelphia, who I asked for directions. We ended up having lunch, and they met on Match.com, and now they're having a baby, and they're madly in love.
Wow.
Weird coincidence. So I think the internet is a great place to connect and meet people, but it's easy to get carried away, because if you put information about yourself online, the person who's seeing that can tailor-make their personality to match yours, and of course you're gonna think that this person and you are meant to be, because they're just using your own information against you.
Right. So you guys premiered at Sundance this year. What was the reception like for the film? What was that your first time out at Sundance? This was your first film. So what can you describe that experience? Because everybody wants to know what Sundance is like.
Wow.
So.
Sundance was a thrill ride. We went in totally unknown, first movie. No one was quite sure what to expect from Catfish. We certainly weren't. And after the first screening, it just sort of took off, and sort of hit a nerve. And we just kept rolling. They added screenings. We were doing these long Q&As and talking to people for hours. Something about the movie is something people need to talk about. It's sort of like a here and now. It's it's high time we take a step back and talk about online communication.
What was like the best or most memorable question or comment you received at like a Q&A session?
This one guy at Sundance stood up. He said, "I don't have a question, just a comment. This one's for Nev. Thank you for bringing back the hairy man in cinema."
Well, I mean, it was a personal look at you and your life. And,
Well, right, and then recently,
how was that?
Yeah, well, recently in a Q&A, someone strangely asked me if my lower back tattoo was real. And of course my response was, no, it's fake. I just thought it would be a great idea to get a tramp stamp for the movie.
Champ
that millions
stamp.
people tramp stamp.
Hashtag champ
Right.
stamp.
But that was a weird, awesome question also.
So you're still on Facebook, and that's sort of like where the
I am,
movie
yeah.
ends off. I mean, are you getting obscene amounts of friend requests a day, or?
I'm getting a lot of friend requests, and I'm accepting them because I think it's a wonderful opportunity for me to in some way become the lightning rod for this conversation. And if I can facilitate it, and if I can be at the center of it, and if I can encourage people to come out with their stories and raise awareness for this sort of growing issue of online misuse or social network addiction, then great. And I'm trying to read and respond to every message that I get, and there are lots. But it's sort of an honor, and I take it very seriously because it's something that I know exists and it was real, and I know that it's happening to other people, and I would like to try and end it.
So one last question I have is, you guys sort of didn't really know you had a film when you started this process, and
Right.
just had to be open and like capture everything and save everything and document everything. Are you guys in the process of sort of keeping your minds open to a future project? Are you not finished with this issue? Do you still want to sort of explore social networking and the way people respond to it, or do you have something completely new on the horizon you want to uncover?
I think there's still a lot to say about social networking, and it's not over. I mean, there's more stories to tell, so we might continue looking into it. I don't know, maybe there's a TV show in here somewhere. I've still got some questions. Ever since the movie has come out, people have been telling us their stories more and more, and they're really interesting. And it's across the digital platform. Every single networking site, even chat roulette, is resulting in stories like this. And I think Nev has sort of allowed people to tell them, because a lot of them are embarrassing.
Yeah, it's been interesting to see how me sort of putting myself out there and telling the story and making myself vulnerable has seemed to open or unlock this floodgate of people saying, "Oh my God, I thought I was the only one," or I was so nervous that I was foolish to have let this happen to me, but now that I know that you did too, just the same way, I feel so much better about it. So it's been interesting to see that, and yeah, I think that this is happening on such a huge scale that there is a need for people to talk about it, and people want to share their stories.
Excellent. Do you guys have anything else you want to say, just to warn people, or to sort of?
No, I mean, if you've seen the movie, it really is best to tell your friends, to convince them to see it without telling them what it's about, because the experience that we had was a total surprise, and it just snowballed. And I think it's the best way to see the movie, is to just go in cold.
Yeah.
Take the ride.
Awesome. That's what I did. It worked out.
Cool.
I really enjoyed
Thanks.
it a lot.
Thank you.
Spectacular. So great.
Great.
You good?
Yep.